Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Lexa Peterson, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Corporal Daniel Hodgson. We warmly welcome the family of Private Alfred Ernest Church and Private Frederick Thomas Robert Church, who are watching the live stream of this ceremony. The Church brother story will be told shortly. This evening, we are honoured to acknowledge General Wayne Eyre, Chief of Defence Staff, Canada, accompanied by General Angus Campbell, Chief of Defence Force, and the accompanying delegation. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they have done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Frederick Thomas Robert Church and Private Alfred Ernest Church. Frederick Church was born in Adelaide on the 23rd of November, 1879. The eldest of 10 children, born to butcher Henry Church and his wife Julia. His brother, Alfred Ernest Church, was born on the 29th of July, 1899, the youngest son in the family. Frederick and Alfred attended Uradla Public School in Adelaide, were members of the cadets program, and went on to train as butchers, like their father. Frederick married Agnes Rose Percival in 1901, and the couple had 4 children together. Frederick Church attempted to join the Australian Imperial Force soon after the declaration of war, but was rejected for having varicose veins. He tried again on the 6th of March 1916 and was successful. He was assigned to reinforcements on the 27th Battalion and embarked for active service in August. After several weeks at sea, he arrived in Plymouth. After training alongside other new recruits, he travelled to the Western Front in late November. His brother Alfred decided to enlist about this time, joining the AIF on the 7th of November 1916. He was assigned to reinforcements of the 48th Battalion and saw out the rest of the year training. In early 1917, Private Alfred Church embarked for active service, sailing from Adelaide on the troop ship Siang B. Private Frederick Church, however, was part of the Allied pursuit of German forces, which had withdrawn to the fortified Hindenburg Line. On the 2nd of March 1917, Frederick's unit was involved in an attack on enemy trenches near Lupard Wood in the Somme. During the fighting, he was hit by shrapnel, suffering wounds to his back and left arm. He was sent to hospital in Rouen, where he spent 6 weeks recovering. Frederick returned to his unit in early May, while Alfred disembarked in England. Alfred spent the next 2 months training at Codford before joining his brother at the front in July. Alfred was taken on strength of the 48th Battalion in August 1917, arriving in the aftermath of the disastrous attack on Bullecourt. In the latter half of 1917, the Allies turned their attention to the front in Belgium. As a result, the Church brothers found themselves taking up positions around the Ypres salient. On the 20th of September, Frederick's battalion was drawn into an attack on enemy positions at Menin Road. As they left the trenches, Allied troops were confronted by formidable German defences, including concrete pillboxes. Enemy counterattacks were strong, but Allied forces managed to push through and capture their objectives. Though the attack was successful, it came at a cost of more than 5,000 Australian casualties. Among the missing was Private Frederick Church. While his older brother remained missing, Alfred's unit fought at Polygon Wood and then took part in the disastrous attack on Passchendaele on the 12th of October. Forced to withdraw after poor planning and inadequate support, his unit moved to the rear areas for rest and training, spending a cold and miserable winter rotating in and out of the front lines. In early 1918, heavy fighting resumed when German forces launched their spring offensive, hoping to break through Allied lines near the city of Amiens, a vital railway hub. Alfred's battalion was sent south to help repulse the enemy and was issued orders to move forward and take a position covering the Albert Amiens Road. The battalion's commanding officer noted, "It looked very fine to see the men moving forward in artillery formation, but finer still was the spirit of these men of Australia, who had covered many miles in 48 hours without sleep and now had to go without lunch. No grumbling or complaining was heard as they moved forward with smiles on their faces. The enemy soon attacked, and though the 48th Battalion held its position, it suffered many casualties. Among the dead was Private Alfred Church, who was killed in action. News of his death reached his family while Frederick's fate remained uncertain. It was not until May 1918 that a court of inquiry determined that Private Frederick Church had been killed by a shell during the Battle of Menin Road in September 1917. Today, Private Alfred Church's remains lie in Radmont Communal Cemetery Extension in France. His elder brother, Private Frederick Church, has no known grave and is commemorated on the Menin Gate Memorial in Ypres. Their names are listed on the Roll of Honour on my right. Almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. Their photographs are displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many of the stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Frederick Thomas Robert Church and Private Alfred Ernest Church, who gave their lives for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.